Since I was young, I've always been into animals and wildlife, the environment. I've always wanted to do something around the environment. I've always enjoyed it, and it's something that I feel passionate about. Animals are fascinating too. I think they're really, it never gets old, there's always something new about wildlife, and there's fewer and fewer wildlife. I feel like it's really important because if we don't do more and more, we're gonna lose a lot of this wildlife that's so fascinating. So. But so penguins, they're all scales, right? So there's only 10 people.
The first time I met Steve Blake in his office, he was amicable.
And on the side, he takes a camera and takes a photo.
His office is small but quite cozy, and he shares some stories and ideas of wildlife protection.
Right. We're a small team, and so it's a nice small office, but it's plenty of space for us.
So in your work to save animals, are there any interesting stories to share with us?
There's always interesting stories. I mean, whale sharks, they're huge. It's like the size of a bus, right? Yeah. I got to swim with whale sharks, and they're totally harmless. They don't even have teeth. They're everywhere. They're feeding, right? So you're in the water and you just feel tiny, right? And there's this huge mouth coming right at you, much bigger than you, and then right when it gets to you, it just kind of goes down or goes around you. It's one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life.
I know it's about a promotional video, right? And Chinese actor Li Guangjie participated in it.
Yeah, that was cool. That was in the Bahamas, actually. So, it's really hard to film something with sharks, right? You have to be in a cage. With that film, it was what we call a PSA that we put out to raise awareness, and that one was about shark fin soup. I mean, you could do that kind of thing maybe with CGI, right? You could have sharks swimming around you, but we wanted to do it for real. So, and then there was Li Guangjie, and then another actor. They went down with no gear. They're wearing suits, and they have oxygen, and then they take it off, put it under the table, and hold their breath. And they have to wipe the bubbles off their face. They can hold their breath for 10, 20, 30 seconds. Yeah, and he was down there for an hour and a half. It's cold down there. He's just wearing just a suit. The pressure on your eyes, his eyes were all red, and he came up really exhausted. And meanwhile, there's sharks swimming all around you.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
But the sharks, they're safe. They're not gonna. That was the whole thing. Is they're not gonna attack you if they know who you are down there.
如果有一天，鲨鱼出席了你的商务晚宴，它们应当在你身边，而不是碗里。请拒绝食用鱼翅，保护我们共同的海洋。没有买卖，就没有杀害。
China has been stepping up efforts on protecting the animals, such as a ban on ivory trade, which came into force since the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
So, how do you comment on the improvements China has made over the years?
In the time that I've been here, I've seen massive change. China is taking huge steps, is really becoming a leader in protecting wildlife. Ivory carvings, it's an important part of Chinese culture. China took the initiative, very brave, I feel like, initiative to completely ban all commercial sales. The ivory ban was huge, right? It shows that China's commitment to protecting elephants and other wildlife. It was really significant, and I think we're going to see that it has a strong impact on reducing poaching and reducing illegal trade. And there's countless examples that Chinese customs are increasingly strengthening their enforcement efforts on stopping wildlife from entering and exiting the country. We see it all the time that the government is really puts a clear focus. I mean, even President Xi talks about it all the time. The environment in general. We hear about it a lot. Eco-civilization within the country. The focus on protecting China's wildlife as well. It's all very difficult to see massive change over a short period of time, but I think we are seeing significant change right now. So it's all really encouraging.
这是一只精雕细琢的象牙手镯，它很昂贵。昂贵的不是它的价格，而是背后那一条条大象的生命。为了保护濒危的大象，我国开始实施象牙贸易禁令，任何象牙交易都是违法行为。以法律之名，让象牙不再是商品，没有买卖就没有杀害。
is a recent report by the World Wildlife Fund, which claims that in the past 44 years, wildlife population in the whole world plummets like more than 60% in the world. That's quite astonishing, I think.
Yeah, it's a hard situation. I mean, I think the population of people in the world is skyrocketed in the last century, right? You know, there's a lot of competition for space and resources. You know, it's a very delicate balance on how we can maintain feeding and consuming, you know, at this level, humanity. But obviously there could always be more, and there needs to be more, you know, science-based approaches and ways to work with different cultures and different situations across the globe. It's really it's very frustrating to see that we're still losing wildlife after all these years. But at the same time, the environmental movement and the movement to protect wildlife is really not that old, right? I mean, people have been working at this for really the last couple of decades. That's not that long when you think about it. So I think it's kind of expected that there's going to be some problems and losses along the way. But overall, I think the momentum is going in the right direction. But it's going to take time, and unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time with some of these species because they're on the brink of extinction. So, I mean, it's very possible that you know, we'll see the extinction of some species, you know, in the next decade or two. But if we can all work harder, we can stop that.
Yeah.
以前，当穿山甲遭遇盗猎者，传说身体是他们唯一能做的事，而现在有更严格的法律保护他们。请不要购买非法穿山甲制品，帮助这群可爱的动物免遭灭绝。没有非法买卖，就没有杀害。
So WildAid China has cooperated with some of the most influential voices to increase people's awareness to protect animals. What kind of impact have these media productions created in China?
They're having a big impact, right? You know, we work with people like Yao Ming, Jackie Chan, Li Bingbing, a lot of these celebrities that are international celebrities as well. By having them in there, people will pay more attention to the issue. So we have a slogan in Chinese, 没有买卖就没有杀害, is now like if you talk to anybody in China, like most people have heard of this slogan, and it's pretty much from our advertisements, and you know, it's a powerful message when the buying stops, the killing can too. So after, you know, 10, 15 years, and it's not only us doing this, there's a lot of other people, a lot of groups, media that participate and are doing similar work. So I mean, I think in the time that I've been here, I've seen big change. I'm always amazed and always interested. Like I feel like I never get tired of learning about wildlife, and but I mean, it's a lot of the times it's kind of a depressing story. A lot of the times when you see wildlife continue to shrink. What I really try to do is stay optimistic, because if you're not optimistic, it's really easy to get disheartened and just, you know, just kind of down all the time. So I have to work harder to stay optimistic, but I'm always interested in wildlife. So I just, you know, you feel a connection when you see this wildlife. When I was in India and I saw tigers in the wild, like walking right next to me, you know, it's a life-changing experience when you can really see this big wild animal like right there, you know, right next to you, just going about their daily lives. I feel like it's worth everybody trying to do at some point, and it really makes you care greatly about that animal and its future. And I hope that, you know, to see them in the wild will encourage more people to care about them and hope that they can continue surviving in the wild.